Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's an unboxing of one of my new, well, at the time of videoing anyway, acquisition from GMT's P500, and it is the Battle of White Plains, Twilight of the New York campaign, October 28th to the 31st, 1776. And it's volume 10 in the Battles of the American Revolution series, designed by Miklos, and of course published by GMT. So what's all this about? Battle of White Plains is volume 10 of the Battles of the American Revolution series. It is late October 1776. Two enormous armies face each other at White Plains, New York. 14,500 Americans confronting 15,400 British and Hessians, making this one of the largest concentrations of opposing troops during the war. Washington, desperate to salvage something from the otherwise disastrous defence of New York, occupies a strong position, which he has fortified with two concentric lines of fieldworks. Secure in these positions, he welcomes a frontal assault against his works. Can you, as General Howe, break through the American line to deliver a decisive blow and end the rebellion? Can you, as General Washington, hold your own on superior ground, hampered, as you will be, with some 6,700 militia of dubious quality? The game includes 3 scenarios: the historical fight for Chatterton Hill on October 31st, an October 31st scenario that explores what might have occurred if Howe had pressed his assault that day as planned, and a 4-day campaign game spanning 42 game turns, beginning with the arrival of the British Army on the field on the morning of October 28th. Special rules include opportunity cards, scorched earth, restoring army morale, ruse de guerre, additional handicaps for American militia, and an off-board movement mechanism for Tarrytown on the Hudson River, 7 miles away, where British ships lay at anchor. So, in the box we have 2 mounted map boards, 1 full-size counter sheet and a half-size marker sheet, 52 opportunity cards, 16 tactic cards, 2 11 by 17 inch Player A cards, Battles of the American Revolution series rulebook, this has been updated I dare say, and the Battle of White Plains exclusive rulebook, along with 2 10-sided dice. So the credits: game and series designer, of course, Mark S. Miklos, developer Rob McCracken, map and site research Phil Varka, art director Roger B. McGowan, the graphic artists Charles Kibler and Mark Simonich, and production coordinator Tony Curtis. Game scale, 1 hour per turn. The map scale is 200 yards per hex, and the units are infantry regiments, battalions, companies, cavalry troops, and artillery batteries. Each strength point equals 100 men or 2 guns. So this one says 2 players, not 1 or 2 players. Playing time 2 to 8 hours, ages 14 plus. And on the game scales, it has a complexity of 6 out of 10, which, unless they've put some extra crunchiness, seems a little high compared to the tri-pack I have in this series. And the solitaire suitability is right down at 3 out of 9. As opposed to 7 out of 9 for the tri-pack, and I suspect it's to do with these opportunity cards, which is like hidden information. But we'll see. Right, let's get the shrink wrap off of this rather heavy 3-inch box. The shrink wrap is off, so let's open the box. And the first thing we see is the June 2022, so the most recent series rulebook. So let's have a look at that. So this updated rulebook comes in at 16 pages. They were never very many pages in this series. I found it nice and easy to get into, and I would say this is slightly easier than Men of Iron if you need some sort of benchmark to go by. So anyway, full colour, matte paper, table of contents. So we have the introduction, components, what everything means. They're very simple to understand counters. You've got their strength and their movement, starting hex and morale, which can be minus as well if they're not too good, and reduced on the other side. Some terminology, how to win, sequence of play outline, but there is on the back an expanded sequence. And then it goes into, goes into more detail for the sequence of play. So initiative, stacking limits, I think it's 6 units, Zones of control, it's pretty standard. Negating those and the effect on movement. There is movement. Rifle fire. First fire markers gives you the advantage. Those pesky German Jaeger rifles. Defensive artillery fire. So during the initiative player's turn, if I remember rightly, the only artillery that can fire is the defensive, the other side's artillery fire. Close combat. Line of sight is pretty straightforward, I think, if I remember rightly. Procedure for combat, artillery in close combat, and then these tactic cards, which I'll talk about in a moment, and how to use them. If you're playing opposed, then these are pretty straightforward. Each side gets to choose a tactics card, and then you look at them and see what the result is. And it could be good or bad for either side. Momentum will keep your turn going if you earn these and spend them. Combat results. Disrupted units, shattered units, and the leaders and their role. Rally phase and unit morale. Here's the tactical matrix that you use for those cards. The attacker picks a card and the defender picks a card. Then you reveal them and cross-reference and see if it does anything to your attack. Here's the close combat table. I'm assuming that's on the player aid. And then on the back, the expanded sequence of play. So, them's the rules. Next we have the exclusive rulebook for the Battle of White Plains. Normally the exclusive rules are just a few pages telling you what's different in that game from the series itself, but let's see. So, counter sheet and opportunity card summary. We have some replacement counters. Utor Springs is in the first tri-pack, the Guildford, Saratoga and Brandywine tri-pack. So it looks like McCottry's rifle is replacing something. And if you have Monmouth, there's a new Indian unit. An example of the counters and these opportunity cards preparing for play, because this looks like there's more to it, as I said earlier, than most exclusive rules. How to win, series rules variation, which you can bring in or not, I think. So this is all, this is all the series rules variations. Special rules for this series. We've got these opportunity cards, which is the thing I suspect is bringing down the solitaire suitability. So quite a bit on those. Tarrytown, Patriot Militia consideration. So quite a lot of exclusive rules and things going on in this game. We've got some special units. And then into the scenarios. We've got the historical scenario, the Battle of Chatterton Hill, October 28th, 1776. So everything you need, the player order, the morale of the sides, any momentum chits that are given out, deployment, and which, it looks like you pick out certain cards for certain scenarios, and any other special rules not used in this scenario. And then there's a hypothetical scenario, Howell's Grand Assault, October 31st, 1776. So all you need to know about that. Opportunity card notes. So these are explanations of the opportunity cards, I dare say. And then design notes. Quite a bit on that. Explaining things in this game and why they use them, and the map as well, explaining why it's called Tarrytown. That's what I would have thought. If you tarry, you hang back, and obviously there were lots of taverns in the town, so people tended to tarry and stay in them. Unique rules and Battle of the White Plains historical background. Wonderful. So really a lot of stuff in this exclusive rule book. At the end here we've got game credits again. And orders of battle. Your counter manifest in case you lose any. And this Ruse de Guerre template. I didn't quite see what that was, but there it is. There's your template for it. And a sequence of play for this game. What a lot in there. Oh, hello, what we got here, there's a little sheet of errata. To be honest though, it doesn't look too bad. Slight change to one of the player aids in the close combat table. Attacking upslope applies both ways. They've used the wrong word there. Nothing too bad there. They've misspelled Massachusetts. And something in the American order of battle. So really nothing to worry about, it looks like. 2 copies of a bifold player aid. Let's have a look at one of those. Here's the front. We've got a nice picture of a contemporary map by the looks of it. So here we've got victory point schedule and AM summary, opportunity card draw summary, morale check DRMs, artillery characteristics matrix, scorched earth die roll, and Washington's combat modifier, and something up here called SP lost track exceptions. So inside the bifold we've got the terrain effects chart explaining everything there on hexes and hex sides. This tactics matrix, which you'll use if you're playing opposed. Ranged fire to hit table, fire combat DRMs, rifle and artillery fire damage, and howitzers and musettes fire damage table. The combat results descriptors, which are up here for the close combat table, and the close combat DRMs. And on the back, the October 31st scenario deployment reference. Next, 1.5 sheets of counters. Here's the full sheet with the British and the Americans. So not counter heavy. Here's the other side. And by the looks of it, a lot of the counters, if they lose a step, they're eliminated. And here's the half sheet with admin counters. And here are those replacement counters that we mentioned earlier. And there's the other side. And then there are two mounted map boards, but we'll have a look at those at the end, because before that we'll have a look at these cards. Hold on though, 2 D10s, 1 red for the Brits, 1 blue for the Americans. And then we've got 2 small bricks of cards, so let's have a look at those. So there are 8 tactics cards for each side, and they consist of frontal assault, turn flank, attack echelon, commit reserve, and so on. So you and your Oppo will pick one of those during an attack and then cross-reference it to the table on the player aid. However, if you were lucky enough to get a copy of this, either downloading it from, I believe, Board Game Geek, or getting it from C3I magazine, which I believe now is the only way because the download has gone from BGG, the tactics part, and you don't have to use it by the way, is all done by this Dice AI. So that's not, I believe, the thing that's bringing down the solitaire suitability. I think it's these opportunity cards. So let's have a look. So specific to the side that has them. So there's probably a way round it. One of which is not to use them, I suspect. But if you're like me and give each side a hand of these, I'll probably forget what the other side has. But there we are. That's those opportunity cards. Right, let's have a look at the maps. Right, this is 2 standard size map boards, but laid sort of top to bottom. So it overlaps my my table a little bit, and apologies for the sort of massive hills. It needs a little bit of work with some heavy books, but hopefully we can see what's going on. So quite a big battle, but I must say the maps look lovely. So up here we've got the strength point loss table. Ah, that's what it meant. Up here we've got the turn track. We'll have a close-up of all the bits and pieces. And along the side here, we've got the morale track and a terrain key. We've also got some bits and pieces down the bottom here, which we'll have a look at. So up to the top. Here's that strength points lost table. And moving along to the right, we can see the turn track and some nice details of the map. These are crops, I believe. Hills are marked out with this sort of dashed iconography. Here's the road to Maronek. So down the bottom we've got this Ruse de Guerre table, the Probe Success table, and here we've got some boxes for Tarrytown. So it looks like you can move from one to the other. Next to those we've got opportunity captured and eliminated unit boxes, and the Patriot Militia attrition table. And then right at the end, at the bottom right, we've got the leader summary table and a little bit of info about Johnny Depp, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And it says that Washington Irving's story was inspired by a real-life Hessian soldier who lost his head by cannon fire during the battle. Well, there we go. while we are here, let's have a look at Chatterton Hill. And these little stars, I believe, are victory point hexes. So a really nice looking map. And just to finish off, up on the left-hand edge of the map board, we've got the morale track. And as you can see, up this end, we've got high morale. Everything's tickety-boo. You get +1 to your initiative, and your unit morale printed on your counter is normal. However, get down to fatigued, you don't get any bonus for your initiative rolls, and the unit morale on your counter is -1. Get down to wavering, your initiative is -1, and your morale is -2. And get here, that's your lot. Well, there's the maps. So this has been an Open the Box, an unboxing of the brand new game in the Battle of the American Revolution series. The Battle of White Plains, Twilight of the New York Campaign, October 28th to the 31st, 1776. Volume 10 in the series, designed by Mark S. Miklos and published, of course, by GMT Games. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. I, for one, enjoy this series of games, but if you did enjoy it and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. Really helps. Another thing that helps greatly is if you push the like button of the video, the thumbs up, and if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push the bell. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. There aren't many counters, but it looks like it's going to be a big battle in terms of area. But let me know. What do you think? I love to read them. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And just before I go, as always, a quick plug for the channel. If you want to support it a little bit further, well, now you can. You can buy the channel a coffee, and a link for that will be in the description. Or, if you wish, you can push the super thanks button underneath this video. Either of which will be greatly appreciated and just helps to keep the channel ticking along, so thank you. Right then, that's that unboxing done. And if you play Solitaire, just be on the lookout for the Solitaire Tactics table, which is kicking around somewhere. Helps tremendously. But I hope you can join me for the next video. So until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.